Hi, my name's Zachary Smith. Welcome to Spotlight. Today we're going to be talking about the OD-200 hybrid drive from Boss. If that sounds like something you'd be into, stick around. Okay, so the OD-200, it's a multi-drive pedal. It emulates some classic Boss circuits, some classic other manufacturers' circuits. It has a few different kinds of overdrives in here. You can see, I think it's about 12 different sounds. And you can basically get any of those sounds with the kind of standard functionality. It is a digital pedal, though. It has 32-bit 96K ins and outs, ADDA conversion. So that's a great kind of high quality digital pedal. It does have a memory section where you can save on the pedal up to 4 different sounds that can have all of these knobs kind of adjusted the way that you like. And then on top of the overdrive selection, you also have another kind of drive boost section that can be activated with this foot switch, and it has its own settings which you set in this with this button and this knob here. So it's a pretty simple pedal, but you can get a lot of different sounds from it. I think for most people, digital has come so far that these sounds are not, you're not really sacrificing anything. You get to have a lot of variety. You get to have your settings saved and all that kind of stuff because it is digital. One thing that is nice to have also is this manual mode where all the settings of the pedal are exactly as they are, because when you go through the memory sections, you'll find that there are there's times when your knobs are really not anywhere close to what the settings are here, and you can't really necessarily remember what your memory mode is. So say we're on memory 1, I don't remember what I saved exactly. I think it might be a tube screamer, or it might be a blues driver, but it's hard to say. And then of course you have these knobs, which when you turn them, you can see that you get a readout on the screen, okay, where that is, but until you turn the knob, you don't know where it is. It's not kind of touch sensitive where you can just, there are some pedals where you just touch the pedal and it will tell you where it is, so it doesn't have that kind of a feature, which I think would be a nice addition, but it is, they're trying to keep it simple, because you want to just be able to quickly dial up an overdrive sound that you like. For me, it's a cool pedal. I picked it up because it was a good deal at a pawn shop for $110 Canadian. But I think these are going for about $250 Canadian on the used market. They're not a crazy expensive pedal, but they are getting up there. And so you want to be able to get a lot out of it when you're putting in that kind of money. I'm going to give you a little bit of a demo, show you kind of my top 3 or 4 sounds on this thing. I don't use a lot of high gain sounds. I use a lot of kind of edge of breakup overdrive sounds, but there's quite a few of those in here. And so if you have your different flavors. You have a tube screamer style, a blues driver style, an OD-1 style, and maybe a fuzz. Okay, so just to show you what we got for the knobs here, we have this knob here, which is your level. We have this knob, which is your drive. Instead of a traditional tone knob, you have a 3-band EQ. And then this knob here, parameter knob, controls what type of boost you have. So that knob right there kind of corresponds with this button over here. This knob here is going to switch you between all of your different modes. So that kind of is just basically there to turn around and show you which overdrive you're on when you're in manual mode. Okay, so let's give this pedal a little bit of a demo. I have a really simple setup here. We got the G&L ASAT Tele style guitar, single coils, into the pedal, out of the pedal, into Fender Bassman 50. The master volume is all the way up, and the normal channel is on 3, not on bright mode. And that's going into a 112 cabinet, mic'd with a 57, and that is going straight into my Zoom H5 recorder. So it's a very simple chain. There's no reverb, there's no delay. You can really hear what this pedal is doing. Very high headroom on the Fender, so we're not going to be pushing the preamp channel or the power tubes much with these sounds. So here is the sound without anything. Pretty classic, clean, chimey Fender sound. Okay, so we're on manual mode. That means all of these knobs are in the place that they actually are. So let's start with an overdrive sound. We'll turn this on. So that's basically everything is at 50 or 0, depending on 0 for the EQ, 50 for the drive. Typically with an overdrive sound like this, I'll bring the gain down quite a bit and give the boost a bit of a bump. Something a bit more like that. Just turning off the gate there, so there is a gate as well that's built into this thing. I don't find it necessary when using these lower gain sounds. It's probably something you want when you're, using high gain sounds, but it's a bit of a trade-off in terms of the feel. So that's a pretty good basic overdrive sound. Let's try the blues driver. Turn up the gain a bit on the neck pickup, or on the bridge pickup, sorry. If you want to give a little cut in the mids, maybe boost the highs a bit. Let's do the inverse of that. So that's a pretty classic blues driver. Let's try the tube screamer. So you can hear immediately the difference between a blues driver and a tube screamer in that mid-range. Let's give it a little bit of So it's a good sound. I like the sound of that tube screamer. It sounds pretty classic to me, and I like, in this case, having just the mids to be able to crank them up. So that's kind of a cool sound. Let's try Centaur here. We'll punch the gain up a little bit. EQ's pretty much flat. Let's see what boosting the mids is like in that. So again, that's another kind of great sound. All of these sounds are relatively similar, but they're, completely in their own world. They come, they have a kind of tradition of, of a different circuit. They have a different topography, and you can hear that in the digital recreation. Let's just try one more. Let's just try the distortion. So there's a little bit of a higher gain sound. So that's kind of cool to be able to have that all there. Back to overdrive. Just show you what it's like with a little bit of So with this knob now, we're selecting so what's reading out here is overdrive, and that's what our boost is actually set to. So let's just try with a clean boost. These are our post and pre gain on that boost. So let's turn it on. Crank it up a little bit more on the pre. So it's kind of a cool thing to have in there as a boost. If you want just a clean solo boost, you can have that. If you want to stack two kinds of overdrives together, you can do that as well with the boost. So it's a pretty cool pedal, and it does function fairly easily. Once you kind of get your head around, you know, your basic drive and level with an EQ, just turn this knob to find the kind of model of overdrive you want to use, and you're off to the races there. Pros and cons for this thing. I think pros, it does sound really good. There's no way around that. It's a high quality pedal. I don't really mind the I don't find, you know, there's really much of a sacrifice at all when, you know, using the digital technology. It sounds great to me. It sounds, you know, through kind of a pretty classic vintage rig. I don't feel like I'm missing something. Latency's not an issue. Everything seems to fit really well, and I do like the sounds of it. Cons for this thing, I do kind of wish there was a tone knob instead of a 3-band EQ for some things. Like, it's just what I'm used to on an overdrive pedal. You just want to reach for that tone knob and be able to do what you want with it. The EQ does give you extra functionality, but it's not a knob that I'm kind of used to reaching for on my overdrive, so that takes a minute to get used to. I'm not sure if I love it still. Then my main kind of gripe with this pedal is the way that the boost section is laid out, and in general the way that the knobs are laid out. I don't think having the parameter knob and the parameter button so far apart makes a lot of sense. I would like a more prominent level and drive, and then parameter knob is not as important. It could be over here, you know, because first of all, these things go together, so I want them to kind of always be together, and then these are the knobs you're going to be reaching for. Level and drive are what it's all about when it comes to, you know, this kind of a pedal. So I wish that was laid out slightly differently. I do think the memory function works pretty great. I do like that you have 4 save spots. That's great. Overall, I think it is a cool pedal. There's going to be 3 or 4 sounds that you use on it. So they did kind of think of that. Like, there's not a lot of guitarists that are going to need all these sounds. There's going to be, but even for a low gain, you know, overdrive sound that I'm into, I have a lot of options to choose from there, and they're all slightly different, and so I could have them saved as presets, you know, just different flavors for what I might be going for. And I think that's going to be the same case even for a high gain user. There's going to be the 3 or 4 sounds on here that you really like. You can save them. So I think that part of it is really great. The form factor is pretty good. It's a little bit bulky, but it's not too big. I think it's a good size. And functionality, you know, it's pretty simple. There's not too much to get through, but I think they could have done a little better in the layout of it to just kind of make it a bit more intuitive. But overall, it's a cool pedal, and it does have a lot of great sounds in it. I'm going to be doing a little shootout in a future video of some of my favorite models on here and their equivalent on the HX Stomp. So if you want to hear how this compares with another digital pedal, that could be of interest to you. But overall, I think it's a really good pedal. I think Boss is on the right track, you know, in terms of making a really functional overdrive pedal that covers a lot of different ground. I think it would be cool if there was a bit more of a digital aspect to it, where you could maybe have 12 different sounds that you change, you know, in your computer and reload. But I get why they've made it the way that they did. Thanks for watching. My name's Zachary Smith. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks. Have a good one.